Okay, I just got in. Y'all guess y'all get in this video because I messed up. Well then, you might be correct. I didn't give y'all no video yesterday. Well, yeah, I didn't give you no video yesterday. So I'm gonna give you 2 videos today to make up for the fact that I didn't give you a video yesterday. Damn it. Pause for. Okay, I'm back, y'all, but I'm taking my shoes off. Y'all like, Squeeze, really? Fuck you come back and take your shoes off for? Because I'm not actually doing, I gotta explain to y'all how I'm not actually doing the book that y'all thought I was gonna be doing. Because I don't feel like looking for it. That's exactly where I'm at with it right now. I don't feel like looking for it. It's not down here in the books of books. So I'm gonna just do this. Chapter 5, we go detecting. It's Andy and Willie super sleuths. That evening, Willie and I sneaked around Polly's house and worked along on our stomach behind the shrubbery until we were by the front porch where Polly and some girls were talking. About 15 minutes, Willie started backing away. So I called out to him, and when we reached the back of the house, he got up and started scratching himself. I got bugs all over me, he said, and I can't stand that dopey talk. One more minute. We might get a clue anytime, I said. They're mentioned Tim 8 times already. And 36 other guys, said Willie. I don't think that this is the way to go about it. I think we should actually use the bathroom and then go to Polly's room and search it while she's on the porch. If they don't know you're there, you got to have a search warrant, I said. Willie said he was just as up on the detective business as I was, and he was going to detect in his own way. We had an argument, which took quite a while, and then we had a fight, which didn't take long. So Willie agreed to go listen for a clue, since it was more scientific. Really? When we crawled back, 3 boys, including Bernie Pruitt, were on the porch. Why do you think Tim will take you? Bernie was saying. What makes you so sure? I'm not sure, said Polly. In fact, there's a reason that makes me almost hope he won't. What reason? Said Bertie. So I win a bet, and you be sworn to give me 6 dances at the next 3 mixers? Hardly. Repulsive, said Polly. What if you win, Polly, someone said. Bertie does my math for 2 months and doesn't talk to me for 2 weeks. There was a lot of laughter. But I can't lose, said Bernie. This is one time where Polly won't win. Tim keeps saying that seniors and the dependency are the traits to look for. And he says that Connie's got them. Connie is dependable, all right, said Polly. You can always depend on her for something devious. She wrote me last summer that Tim was giving her a big rush, which wasn't true. And then when that didn't work, she, right here, really sneezed. It was sort of a yell and the sneeze mixed together, and it was so loud and sudden that everyone jumped about 8 inches high up. Willie ran, but before I could get away, Bernie had grabbed me and was dragging me up onto the porch. Well, if it isn't Nero Wolfie, he said, digging his fingers into my arm muscle. My goodness, Andy, said Polly. What are you doing down there? We are collecting bugs, I said, which was certainly was true. They were eavesdropping, said Bernie. Working on the case. Hawkshaw, he said, shoving me around. Broken any windows lately? Bertie, you are the worst bully I ever saw, said Polly. Leave him alone. Stop pushing him. Andy can collect bugs in my bushes anytime he likes. Thank you. Like, what is the rule? Is it a rule saying I can't collect bugs or some shit? Like, what the fuck? All the girls started bawling Bernie out for being mean to little children. Bernie was trying to tell about Willie's and my detective ambitions and trying to say that we were eavesdropping. But his hold on me loosened, and so I jerked away and ran. I kicked him first. Willie was waiting behind the house. He said he hadn't planned to sneeze. He said he thought a bug got up in his nose. It's all right, I said. Except it's Bernie's disease and making Polly suspicious of us. It'll be twice as hard to find the letter. I really think we should have went with Willie plan. Can we use the bathroom? It's 2 of us. We can't go to the bathroom at the same time. While you were supposed to be in the bathroom, I sneak in the room and look, and while I'm supposed to be in the bathroom, you sneak and look. Teamwork. Well, if we don't find it, said Willie, Tim will probably have to take Polly to the dance, and Bernie will lose the bet. And I don't want to help Bernie to win anything. Personally, I agree with Willie. But I told him it was, as I said in my speech in class, private eyes can't have private feelings. And besides, Polly was breaking the law. And besides, we promised Tim to take the case. And besides, you need the $3, says Willie. Yeah. I didn't think we needed to say that one, but since you want to point it out, yes, we do. So we went down the alley to the next block and cut across the street and came back to a spot across the street from Polly's house. Bernie and the rest were leaving. Aren't you coming, Polly? Someone said. I thought it was your idea to go to Antonio's. There's something I want to do first, said Polly. You go ahead. I'll catch up with you. We sneaked across the street after Polly's friends were gone and looked through Polly's living room windows. I thought afterwards how lucky we were. First, Willie kept doing so much unnecessary talking. There's a wonder someone didn't hear him. This is what you call casing the joint, he said. Wish I already knew. Boy, my mom would kill me, he said. Wish I already knew. Then when Polly came into the room, he kicked me to be sure I noticed what she was carrying and caught me right behind my left knee so that I fell against the house and made a terrible racket. But we were really lucky. Polly didn't hear us even when GC turned up unexpectedly and started barking, and we had to grab him and hold him down and clamp his mouth shut. They should have got caught so many times on this private detective shit. I'm just going to be honest with y'all. It was close quarters between the shrubbery and the windows, and old GC's tail kept slapping against the house, but apparently Polly was thinking so hard about where I had the long blue envelope in her hand that she didn't hear a thing. She stood for a while right by the window, tapping the envelope against her chin and looking around the room. Then she walked over to a table by the door, hid the envelope under some magazines on it, called to her mother that she would be back in an hour, and left. Up to then, we were really lucky. I was just starting to go into the house for the envelope when Polly's mother came into the room and sat down by the table where the magazines were. Well, good night, said Willie. Now what do we do? This is easy, I said. You wait here. I'll go home and phone and say the dog is bothering someone. While my aunt is explaining that they don't have a dog, you hop inside and get the letter. So I was holding my nose, waiting to talk to my aunt, who should answer the telephone but my uncle. I was so surprised that I said, Uncle Fred. Hello, Andy, he said. I couldn't think of anything to say. And so I said, Are you at home? What else would I be answering my telephone, he said. What can I do for you, Andy? Excuse me. I seem to have the wrong number, I said, and hung up. I rejoined Willie at the window, and my uncle came into the room shaking out a newspaper as if he were mad at it. He been doing some yelling, Willie said. My uncle yells around a lot, especially by the telephone. So he sat down and began to read. And now there were two people sitting by the letter, both of them looking as if they were settled there for the next 100 years. We decided that the only thing we could do was to go calling and look for a chance to grab the envelope when no one was looking. So we knocked at the door. And I said I had come to apologize to Uncle Fred for having the wrong number. So I apologized, and my uncle read his newspaper, and then Willie and I sat down. While Willie and my aunt were making conversation, I tried to figure out how a detective would go about getting that letter. My aunt was the one to worry about because my uncle was down behind the newspaper in the financial page. All of a sudden, I got an idea. Whenever I'm at my aunt's and I need a drink of water, she usually goes with me to help me out. So to get her away from the letter, I asked whether I could have a drink. But this time, she told me, all you gotta do is be like, can I borrow your magazines? And then take all the magazines. I can't borrow a magazine. But this time, she told me to help myself, that I knew where the glasses were. I got up, giving Willie a look which she misunderstood. He said that he'd like to have a drink too. My aunt told him to go along with me, but I gave him another look. So he said that on second thought, he didn't want one. My uncle read his newspaper. When I got to the kitchen, I called to my aunt to ask her about the glasses, until finally she came to help me. I took plenty of time drinking, and when we went back to the living room, I saw by the look on Willie's face that he had the letter. So I thanked my aunt for the water, and we left. Good for you, Willie, I said when we got away from her house, and he pulled the letter out from under his shirt. That's what I call real detecting. I almost had a heart attack, said Willie. I just got over to the table and started to look through the magazines when your uncle lowered his newspaper and focused on me. He got an eye like a barkeeper. He finally begins to read again, but boy, this detective business is hard on the nerves. We took the letter straight over to Tim's house. At first, Tim acted as if he couldn't believe it. Then he kept yelling, "It's it! Zooey!" "What about the $3? I said. "Just a minute," said Tim. "I get it." He ran up the stairs. "I guess our first case was success, said Willie. "I guess this will show Ronald Pritchett." "I don't feel so good about it," I said. "Now Bernie will win the bet." Then Tim yelled. He sounded as if he had been ambushed. "Andy!" he shouted. "Willie!" He came back the steps 3 at a time. "You got to put this back, quick, before Polly misses it. Or does she know now?" "No," I said. "But she said that she'll be home in an hour, about an hour ago." "Is that the wrong letter?" said Willie. "No," said Tim. "Yes, no. Can you get it back without Polly knowing?" "I'll still pay the $3. No. It's more than $3 at this point, my friend. I did that $3. I did that job for the $3. You mean this would be another $3 right here for me to put it back? Because my job's done." I said that we could try, and the next minute Tim was rushing us out to his car and driving off practically before we were inside. We reached Polly's house in 3 minutes. Tim went around the last corner on 2 wheels. It was the time I felt most like a detective. Oh my goodness. Y'all like to go? Yes. That was really good. Chapter 6. Mysterious payment. When we got there was no sign of Polly. Tim shoved the envelope at me and told me in a hoarse voice to hurry. He said that if he saw Polly coming, he would warn me by honking his horn. I didn't have any pockets big enough to hide the envelope, so I stuck it inside the front of my pants. And then Willie and I went up to the porch and knocked. My aunt was surprised to see us again. "Excuse me for bothering you," I said, "but perhaps I left my magazine here." "What kind of magazine, Andy?" she said. "Maybe he laid it on the table," said Willie. We went to the table and my aunt asking a lot of questions and going through the magazines. Then the horn began to honk out in front, and I discovered that the letter had slipped down to where I couldn't get a hold of it without attracting attention. "Could I have a drink?" I said. "Great scoop," said my uncle. I hurried to the kitchen and got the letter out. Then I hurried back, holding it behind me, and Willie, who is fastened to Mercy, handed me a couple of magazines. I slipped the letter between them and laid them back on the table. All the time the horn kept honking, and my uncle said, "What idiot is sounding that horn?" "I believe I remember where I left the magazine," I said. "It wasn't here." "It's at your house, isn't it?" said Willie. "Yes, sir. I remember too." My uncle looked sort of swollen, and so we said goodbye in a hurry. When we went out onto the porch, we heard Polly saying, "Why, Tim, is that you?" It's this crazy horn," said Tim. "Sometimes I have to stop to fix it. While I'm here, though, Polly, since I just happen to be here, I'd like to take the opportunity to ask you to go to the dance with me Friday night. And I don't mean because of the letter, but because I want you to." I'm with the kids now. I'm with the kids like, what the hell? Willie and I tried to figure it out on the way home. "I like the way it turned out," said Willie. "But how did it get that way? We're the detectives. Aren't we supposed to know?" I had to admit that I didn't understand it either. On the playground before school the next morning, we were still trying to make some sense out of what happened when along came Tim waving $3 bills over his head and calling, "Andy North, Willie Perkins." He looked very cheerful. Of course, a lot of kids, including Ronald Prickett, gathered around to see what was going on. "Here's the fee," said Tim, "for a job well done." "A detective job?" said Willie to all the kids. You should have seen Ronald's face. He looked as if he had just seen an abnormal alien from outer space. "Just one thing," said Tim, taking Willie and me to one side. "Remember, Polly must never know what I hired you to do, so don't tell anyone." Why not, I said. How are we going to build up a reputation unless people know all about our cases? The situation has changed, said Tim. You can't tell it. But it's all over, said Willie. Detectives always tell everything when it's over. Not necessary, said Tim. In this situation, publicity will spoil all the good work you're doing. I don't see why, I said. I'll tell you, said Tim finally, if you promise to keep the explanation under your hat. We told him that he could count on us. So then he said the letter about Connie was in an envelope, all right, but an unfinished letter that Polly was writing to her sister happened to be with it. I took the wrong letter by mistake and saw what it said before I realized what it was. But she was blackmailing you, I said. After all, you didn't intend to read the wrong letter. And you had us put it right back. You don't get it, said Tim. I had you put them both back. Polly was telling her sister how I had let Connie Smith poison my mind against her. She said I had such high ideas that I never recognized sneakiness in others since I never did anything underhanded myself. So you can imagine how I felt standing there with a letter I stolen. Stolen, I said? Right? Like, wait. We didn't steal. We wasn't stealing. Like, that's a little extreme. We was borrowing. She was blackmailing you. What the fuck is going on here? From her point of view, said Tim. Because she wasn't trying to blackmail me. She was trying to save me from that squint-eyed Connie Smith. She thinks that I suddenly realized that Connie poisoned my mind. If she knew that I hired you to get the letter, she'd lose her good opinion of me. So you can't tell it. We agreed. And so everything ended up fine. I paid Mr. Antonillo that evening. He said I was a good boy, and he wanted to tell my father about the window, which he hadn't to this day. And Ronald was so stunned at Willie and my success that he hardly talked for a while. But something happened the next day that stunned even Willie and me. We were on the playground at noon, and we heard someone calling us. It was Polly. She looked very cheerful. All the kids gathered around to see what was going on. How much is you charge for a case, said Polly. $3, I said. Very reasonable, she said, handing me $3 and walked away. Since everyone was looking on, Willie and I pulled ourselves together and acted nonchalant, as if getting paid for solving a case was getting to be old stuff. But that evening, we went to tell Polly that she must have made a mistake. She just laughed. When we tried to give the money back, she got very bossy and wouldn't take it. I wanted to give it back, because 9 times out of 10, she knew what she was doing. She knew what y'all was doing, and that's why she made that big scene about what to do with this, or what to do with it, because she knew. She's smart. Willie thinks she's not all that. I thought at first that maybe she discovered that Willie and I had indirectly helped her to win the bet from Bernie. But that didn't make sense, because then she'd be angry with Tim for doing something underhanded from her point of view. And naturally, she'd be mad at us too for helping him. So what was she paying us for? We considered investigating the whole matter since the payment was so mysterious. And it is Willie's and my job to solve mysteries. But Mr. McCooter said that investigating the mind of a female could discourage the best detectives in the world. So Willie and I decided to leave it a mystery. We didn't want to get discouraged right at the beginning of a big career. He said, look, you try to figure out why she gave you that $3, you might not want to be detectives out no more. And they decided they're just going to let that mystery be a mystery. Okay, let me see. Can I do this next chapter? Because these it's funny. I actually am enjoying it. Now chapters is going getting kind of long in this joint, up in this joint, up in this joint, up in this joint. I am going to have to talk to the writer like that. I did chapters 5, 6. The writer's over there like, girl, I got to get the juice in the couche. And I'm like, it's here. Y'all like, what did you just say? If you wonder what I just said, drop it down in the comments. I think that's how that works. If it's not how that works, then, my bad. My apologies. My apologies. So I was going to give y'all another chapter, but I'm not. We're going to leave that right there. I think I'm on chapter 7. I did 5, 6. Ooh, it was so good. Y'all wanted more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can't count. I'm on chapter 6. Oh my goodness, y'all. That alone tells y'all a girl is sleepy, and that's why I'm sleepy. I'm sleepy. I'm sleepy. I like to use really? You won't say it 1,000 times? Yes, because I'm sleepy. I'm sleepy. I keep wanting to make a fucking song, but then at the same time, I'm like, Twist, can you make a song with a song? Can you make a song with no beat? I can, but will it be a song with no beat? Will it not? Will it inspire the people? Would you want to be here? Would you want to be here? I'm you. And I spend the night alone. So I think I'm gonna do this because it's his old video, and because I already know it's not gonna be a great blah 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 blah. And I have to keep doing it because I didn't want y'all to think that it was an accident. I just, speak to my third language people who speak blah, 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 blah. So don't judge the people that speak that language. Anyway, y'all like to really? Okay, so we're going to talk about the Great Chicago Fire. That burned from Sunday, October 8th to Tuesday, October 10th in 1871. The fire killed up to 300 people, destroyed roughly 3.3 square miles of Chicago, Illinois, and left 100,000 residents homeless. So it didn't actually, it left a lot of folks homeless, but after you thought about it, it didn't actually kill that many people. And out of all the great fires, this wasn't the worst one. I'm just saying. If you go back to my old channel, then you will see this whole video. I'm just saying, just in case you want to peep what I be on. Did the Great Fire lead to the Great Depression? No, the Great Depression didn't happen until 1929. See, the Great Fire it was a Great Fire, but it didn't actually lead to anything else. Didn't lead to the Great Depression. The Great Depression was an economic crisis that began with the stock market crash of 1929 and lasted nearly a decade. The causes of the Great Depression stock market crash of 1929, bank failures, and a drought. So the Great Depression was brought on because the stock market crashed, and then there was a lot of droughts. So there wasn't no money being brought on. What is a drought? A prolonged period of abnormally low rainfall leading to a shortage of water. What was the cause of the Great Fire? This is where we about to get up. We about to get up in that nitty gritty, because I know y'all like to squeeze. It's obvious who the fuck started that Great Fire. That chick milking the horse, and the horse kicked the lamp over, and boom, swoosh, wood, everything wood. So everything just caught up in fires. That's what y'all like. Okay, but see you seeker. That's you. You're doing too much, because that's not the answer. According to research, the reason for the Great Fire was dry weather and an abundance of wooden buildings, streets, and sidewalks made Chicago vulnerable to fire. So Shorty milking her cow ain't had shit to do with the fire. I'm just saying, you might not know that, but now you do. Okay. Or the fire began in the O'Neary's barn. As Miss O'Neary was milking her cow, the cow kicked over a ladder, setting fire to the barn. You heard the story. The fire department went to the... Oh, yeah. They only had one fire department. The fire department went to the wrong address. The wind carried the fire to the next house. And they was halfway across town. The fire department was halfway across town. Now they gotta make their way all the way back over here. By the time the fucking fire department got all the way fucking back over here, there was at least 5 fucking buildings on fire. And them bitches was spreading like motherfucking... So, yeah. The count kicked out Aladdin. The fire department going to the wrong address. Damn near across town, but you know. What is abundance? A very large quantity of something. Did Miss O'Leary go to do prison time for her cow starting a fire? No. According to the Chicago Tribune by James Janetta on April 16th, 1999. Okay, I'm gonna read a little to you. More than 127 years have gone by since the Great Chicago Fire, but it took John Marshall Law School moot court jury on the 20 minutes Thursday to find one of the more colorful characters in the city's fire legend not guilty of lying about how it started. Well, considering that she had a hand in it, I mean, I myself could have gave her community service. Community service! Your cow kicked it over. I mean, you wasn't the cause for the fire. Fire department, we gonna talk about that. We gonna talk about what was popping off there. Were you not listening on the phone when they was giving out the address? And then once we talk about the fire department, we gotta talk about how everything in this motherfucking town was made of wood at one point. Damn. Everything. The houses, the fences, yes, everything was made of fucking wood. How did Chicago rebuild after the Great Fire? The fire destroyed 17,500 buildings and 73 miles of street. It caused $200 million in damages. Following the blaze, reconstruction efforts began quickly and spurred great economic development and population growth. And did you know, the same day a fire broke out in Pesico, Wisconsin, in which more than 1,000 people perished. See, that's what I'm trying to let y'all know. Like, they want us to be like the Great Fire of Chicago. But how was it the Great Fire? How is this the greatest fire when at the same motherfucking time there was a fire over there in Wisconsin that was taking more lives? The disaster prompted an outbreak of looting and lawlessness. Companies and soldiers were summoned to Chicago, and martial law was declared on October 11th, ending 3 days of chaos. Martial law was lifted several weeks later. So, martial law has been implemented in Chicago. I just want to just point that out. Oh, to answer your question, despite the fire devastation, much of Chicago physical infrastructures, including its transportation system, remained intact. So, you know, you was on the bus stand, you still got the bus stand, and I know y'all like to quiz. Does that really fucking matter? I don't know. My back has been itching like a motherfucking crazy. I need to hop in the shower. I just got off from work. I'm tired. My back is itching. I just got through telling you about the Great Fire. Drop it down in the comments if you want me to tell you about something else. And we are out.